Hey, this is 11 Honors, and I know everybody was in class today, but it's a reminder, review of what we read. I'm going to review the first 7 questions in the letters. The letters come before chapter 1, and so this is an epistolary novel, which is the first question, and the whole book is written from letters, the letters of Walton to his sister. Is an example. And then there are the entire book is written in the form of a letter to his sister, but different narrators speak within that. So that is what this is. Number 2, who is Robert Walton? He's a British in his 20s Englishman who wants to travel to the North Pole, and he's writing to his sister, and he's writing from first of all St. Petersburg, Russia, and then later Archangel, which is a port in the Baltic in Russia. Number 3, what are Walton's plans? His plans are to explore the North Pole. What does he hope to discover? Well, several things. First, just the general excitement of maybe being the first person to get there. That would be a lot of glory, which is ultimately what he wants. The first person to discover the North Pole. Secondly, he feels that there would be a lot of scientific discoveries, given that the North Pole is the magnetic North Pole, and there'd be ways that could be, things that could be learned that could be used. And thirdly, it had been a dream of Europeans to find a Northwest Passage, a way to get to the Pacific Ocean without having to sail all the way to the south and go around the Cape of South America. And so there'd been a belief that there'd be a way through the Arctic Ocean to get there, and he thought maybe that could be a part of this too. He'd figure out there'd be a way to sail. Anyway, he wanted to be famous, and this was his way to do it. Number 4, how does Walton prepare himself for his mission? First of all, he'd been reading all his life about ocean voyages and sailors. Secondly, he hired himself as a sailor aboard ships, whaling ships, so he got that practical experience as well. Number 5, as he prepares himself, what is the one thing that is missing? Well, part of the preparation was to put himself in a place like the Baltic Sea, where he could, which he does, he hires a ship and he hires a crew to be on it. But the one thing he's missing is a friend, and this is interesting because it foreshadows the monster's major concern, and really the basis for all of his actions in the story was that his creator, Frankenstein, didn't create another person like him. So he's the only one of his kind on Earth. He's lonely, he wants to make friends, and he can't because of his appearance. So that's going to be a major theme of the book, major motivation, and it is even for Walton, a friend. 6, what interesting story does Walton tell about his master? The master, though he's not a particularly smart man, was a very successful sailor, and he had bought a retirement farm, and he met a Russian girl that he wanted to marry. He'd only met her once before the wedding, and the girl comes to him and begs him not to marry her because she's in love with another man. And he's so moved by her story that he actually gives the farm to the other man, whose major problem with her getting married to him was he was poor, and the father would not allow his daughter to marry a poor man. So the master gives his farm to him and all the acreage that went with it. The man still refused to allow the man because he didn't want to take charity. He didn't want to steal another man's bride. And so the master just literally leaves, and in his absence, the woman does marry. It's an interesting story. I'm not sure I can explain its role in the bigger story yet, but that is the story that he tells. And then finally, 7, what poem has a huge impact on Walton? Well, we know that Mary Shelley was fascinated by Coleridge and by John Milton. And the 2 poems that she was fascinated with were Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Coleridge and Paradise Lost by Milton. And we find as the story goes on, and we're not quite there yet, but we'll find in the next section that particularly, well, both of them have great connections. And the connection that we noted was, and I think I wrote this down, both Paradise Lost and the Rime of the Ancient Mariner are tales of men who, like Walton, are driven by their egos and ambition to the point of self-destruction. So both Satan and the mariner both act in a way that causes their own downfall. And that seems to be Walton. At least he hasn't caused his downfall yet, but he is driven by ambition and ego. So that's a little bit of review of what we've read. We'll start letter 2. Actually, we've already read letter 2. I think we're almost finished with it. And then we'll read letter 3 tomorrow. So hopefully this will help you.